The government won the vote fairly comfortably, but there's a lot of bad blood left as a result. The Tories in particular are furious and have really, their loathing of the Liberal Democrats has really been unleashed this afternoon, and there's a lot of talk about finding some way of getting revenge against the Lib Dems who left Jeremy Hunt high and dry. There's certainly a sense among Tories that the Lib Dems are no longer trustworthy, if they ever were, and certainly aren't the kind of people they would want to go tiger shooting with. So I suspect the big challenge for David Cameron and for Nick Clegg is to find a way of calming those emotions and ensuring that today's spat doesn't spill over into legislative mess, because there are a number of big bills coming up that the government needs to manage, particularly on Lord's reform, and a war between Tory backbenchers and Lib Dems could end in tears for the government. Well, the Lib Dems have a big project that they are very keen to push through Parliament, which is the reform of the House of Lords. Most Tories think it's a turkey of an idea and would love to see it fail. David Cameron has said he wants it to happen. He understands that the Lib Dems get to choose at least one thing that's worth pushing through. But of course, the problem is now that Tory MPs will perhaps conclude after today's events that they no longer owe the Lib Dems anything and will now work very hard to scupper Lord's reform. And they can do that because it will come to a vote at some point in the Commons. And if Tory MPs, Tory backbenchers decide that they're not going to let it through, they decide they're going to talk it out or vote it down, then they could bring that down. And that would leave Nick Clegg and the Lib Dems in a terrible position and weirdly actually cause a huge headache for David Cameron, who we've got to remember one of his main responsibilities as Prime Minister, as he sees it, is to keep the coalition together and keep the Lib Dems in the tent. And if his own side scupper the Lib Dems' pet project, then that could put really intolerable strains on the coalition.